Meeting to order for Granby, Hampden Conservation.
Yeah. Been there too long one.
All right, we got to review the minutes and vote on them.
Yeah, you could do that
Yeah,
first, sure.
Sure.
They're in your folder.
Yeah, I haven't looked at them. Did anybody look at them?
Doing it now.
So I guess I need a motion to accept the minutes as written, unless there's any edits.
Somebody needs to second that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, so we're doing the public comment on here.
Well, that's just part of the
Okay.
agenda.
all right,
You're
okay.
gonna go right to Eastbrook.
All right, okay, so I need to read the thing. If I open an NOI, I need to read the
NO
listing.
NOI continuation
Yeah. Okay,
or Eastbrook Bridge replacement.
okay, I'm gonna open the meeting for the Eastbrook Bridge replacement NOI, which is a continuation.
Well, it's continued because they didn't get into the last month's meeting.
Oh, okay, all right. So let's see. I'm
Hi.
guessing you two are involved in
Yes.
this?
So my name is Chris Lyman from Howard Stein Hudson. I was the lead civil engineer for the project. And with me is Stephen Tyler.
Steve Tyler, associate principal, manager of our Worcester office and principal in charge for the project overall.
Yeah, and just to kind of give some background just on the project, because it has been roughly a 3-year project, and I don't know how much the commissioners, I know some know more than others potentially about this project. Started through an MVP grant. We went out and we inspected, I think 32 structures here in town, being culverts and bridges. It basically made a plan for the town, a prioritization plan for the town of updating some of their structures, stream structures. From this came the Main Street Bridge at Eastbrook. So it's kind of how we got here. This past year, we kind of got up to the point of 100% design for these plans. We're submitting the NOI to the town of Hampden. Basically proposed to replace the existing Main Street Bridge at Eastbrook, which is currently a 26-foot wide bridge with a 32-foot long bridge to meet the Massachusetts stream crossing standards to the greatest extent practical. The existing bridge that crosses over is structurally deficient. As you can see, there's barrels on there. The two outside, I can call it guest trusses, are basically, failing. So we don't want load there. So it is a structurally deficient bridge. And the potential of not replacing the bridge could lose to the loss of the roadway and potential damage to the environment around it. The project is designed in a manner to construct an impact to be minimized as much as possible. The project is located within riverfront area, inland bank, land underwater, bordering land subject to flooding, as long as estimated priority habitat and priority habitat to rare species, just for a couple of the resource areas that are around the project. The project does have some impacts, the first being some of the temporary impacts. There's 571 square feet of temporary impacts to land underwater. There's also 7,289 square feet of temporary impacts to riverfront area and 85 feet of temporary impacts to bank. These temporary impacts are mostly to replace the existing abutments of the existing bridge to become new abutments. There also is going to be some widening of the bridge, as I had said. It's becoming from 20, it's basically widening 6 feet from 26 to 32. This will result in roughly 488 square feet of land underwater added basically to the ecosystem. There also is some permanent impacts, including 1,662 square feet of permanent impacts to riverfront area, 12 feet of permanent impacts to bank, and there will be 32 cubic feet of or yards of dredging. Again, these permanent impacts again are due to basically the widening of the bridge and putting in these new abutments. Also, some bank work we're doing to stabilize the banks on all sides of the bridge. And also we're constructing a sidewalk and pedestrian curb ramps on the bridge itself on either end. There will be added 1,855 cubic feet of new flood storage. That flood storage is being added because again, we're reworking the bank to stabilize it, which means we're cutting into the banks to add flood storage. Also, the widening of the bridge also allows for greater flood storage at the banks on either side. There's no direct impact to any other of the wetland resources as the project's proposed right now. There was an alternatives analysis that was done by our subconsultant Tetra Tech. They did a hydraulic analysis of the location. They came up with a few alternatives for us to choose from. The first alternative would be a 32-foot span by 22-foot channel bridge. One of the big things we're looking at for these bridges is really the freeboard. Which for stream crossing standards, they're looking for about 2 feet of freeboard. Unfortunately, this first option only gave you the 1.3 feet. So it would be greatly below stream crossing standards. There was some options they gave us where we could, raise the roadway a little bit to try to maybe meet that 2 feet with the alternative. But the 1.3 feet, it was just, we'd have to raise the roadway too high and basically wouldn't be as smooth a ride down Main Street. So for that reason, this option was kind of not chosen. Another was alternative 2, which is a 32-foot span with a 26-foot channel. This is the alternative that we ended up going with. This gave a freeboard of 1.6 feet, but with working with the profile of the roadway, we were able to get over that 2-foot freeboard with this alternative. And then alternative 3 was a 38-foot span with a 32-foot channel. This option also would allow us to get that freeboard. It just was a more expensive option construction wise. So we were able to basically meet stream crossing standards with alternative 2, which is the reason why we didn't choose alternative 3, because it just happened to be the more expensive option. If you can just pull up the plans a little bit, please.
If I can just add on the alternatives analysis, but there are other elements too. There's the close proximity of the historic structure where the caretaker's building is, the driveway. So anything that raises the road is going to kind of start to eliminate the driveway and the access to that property. I mean, it's also going to create further impacts on Massachusetts Audubon property, and which obviously protected. So there's greater impacts with those alternatives as well.
If you don't mind going to page 4, please. So I kind of just went through obviously the impacts. This is basically just a color coordinate showing where these impacts are happening. You can see most of the temporary impacts to the riverfront area are from regrading the slopes, which you see in purple there. A lot of it's just regrading the slopes. And again, I said we're raising the profile of the roadway a little bit, which creates some grading to be done on either side of the roadway. Then you have I guess you'd call it the more of the greenish color, which is the temporary impacts to land underwater. A lot of that's just for the removal, again, as I said, of the existing abutments of the bridge, which basically we're creating coffer dams around the existing abutments. So we're not impacting the actual center of the stream itself, but instead we're just damming around the existing abutments to remove them and then replace them. So you can kind of see how the green kind of just stays away from the center of the channel and stays more close to the abutments, because that's where most of the dredging is going to be happening. And then you have your orange there, which is the permanent impacts to riverfront area. A lot of that, again, is just because we're adding in the sidewalk and the pedestrian curb ramps on either side of the bridge. We're also putting up updated guardrail at this location because the current guardrail is insufficient. which also will have pavement millings underneath, which technically, I guess, aren't considered impervious surface, but it is pavement millings. So it still is a different change of an impact because before that was just grass. So those are really our permanent impacts to the riverfront area. And then you have your permanent bank impacts, which are in red, which really are coming off each end of the bridge. And that's just because we are widening the bank a little bit. So within, I guess, each end of the bridge, for us to get back to the normal bank width, we're having to basically move those banks out a little bit. If you go to the next one, please. And then right here is just the area where we're really adding that flood storage elevation. I talked about the 1,855 cubic feet. You can see in green here, a lot of it again is happening where we're widening the channel underneath the bridge and doing a lot of bank impacts. You can kind of see how we're kind of flattening out more. If you look at the black lines on either side on the 4 quadrants of the bridge, we're really trying to cut in there more and create more of a gradual slope down to the brook itself. As of right now, it's kind of just like it goes right to the bank and it drops straight down. So we're really trying to offer more flood storage in those locations for the times when the East Brook does swell from big storms. I think I'll pass it over to Steve. Do you have anything to add?
Sure, yeah, I'll continue. So one of the key things of this project is it's improving the structure that's there now in conformance with the stream crossing standards to the greatest extent practical. So a lot of these, like what's on this plan right now, this is new aquatic. We're calling it impacts, but at the end of the day, it's a wider river. It allows for greater capacity during storm flows, but it also allows for different types of aquatic passage. Right now, what you have is a constricted stream where it's pretty much water face to bridge all the time. When we can show one of the sections of the bridge, I'm not sure what sheet it is in here, your package, Chris. But with the widened structure, the main channel will stay pretty much as it is, but there'll be some added aquatic passage values.
You can go 2 up, please. Yep, right here. That kind of gives a better layout of kind of what the passage under the bridge will kind of look like.
Yeah, so if you could just
Scroll down a little
so we can see the bottom part. So in this illustration here, in the center, this is the existing, this is sheeting that was left in place when they built the previous culvert. And so that's basically where your existing channel is. And so during construction, coffer dams will be placed right at the face of where the existing abutment wall is, which basically projects up from where these steel sheeting is. And this is where the stream gets wide for the wider structure. So there's actually a wider stream bed. There's aquatic passage up here on this bank. So it's both improving storm flows, but also improving the capacity of this structure to be a passage for other wildlife where it's not now. I wanted to take a little bit of time to address the letters that you got from Division of Fisheries and Wildlife, in particular, Natural Heritage and Endangered Species. What I have in front of me right now is the
this is
July 1st letter from Mass Wildlife. And I'm reading from the top of page 204. And the findings of Natural Heritage are that this project is currently proposed will not adversely affect the actual resource area habitat, state protected rare wildlife species. Therefore, it is our opinion that this project meets the state listed species performance standards for the issuance of an order of conditions. Another key element that I'm sure you're aware of is, as currently proposed, must be conditioned to avoid a prohibited take of turtle species according to the regulations, and to avoid a prohibitive take of turtle species, the conditions attached to this letter must be met. And then it goes on to say, provided the attached conditions are met and fully implemented, there is no change to the project plan. This project will not result in a take of stateless species. That's where we want to be. We don't want to have a take of stateless species. So then they go on to talk about to avoid a take of state listed species, the following conditions must be met. Develop a turtle protection plan by a state certified wildlife biologist, and then there's some timing restrictions. I've been doing bridge replacements for something a little over 20 years. I've had a half dozen or so projects with requirements just as this, where we've been endangered species. In particular, it's been turtles. We will certainly have these requirements in there, but we won't be able to develop a turtle protection plan in advance of putting this out the bid. The way we handle this is a means and methods that the contractor's held to, because whatever these requirements are, the contractor has to be held to, and that biologist really needs to be available to the contractor throughout construction to continually do inspections and so forth. So what we do is we write a special provision that requires the contractor to hire a state certified wildlife biologist. They submit this plan, and the reason why I'm explaining that to you is because you want to be able to see this plan. And so what the project would ask of the Conservation Commission is to write that into the requirements of the order of condition. That, prior to continuing with the work, the contractor must present this turtle protection plan, however wording you want to do, happy to assist as well. And then that's where that gets captured. So then after the project goes out the bid, the winning contractor will have to submit that plan for your review so that you make sure that that is taken care of during construction.
So that's in the bid process. That item is listed in their bid process.
Yes. And this will be attached. They'll have to meet all of these requirements. They'll be told that it'll say that it needs to be approved by the Conservation Commission. It needs to be approved by Massachusetts Division of Fisheries and Wildlife. So it will list and include all of those requirements.
And how about time of year, because it's a cold water fishery?
It will have all of the time of year restrictions. It will have to keep out of the water during those times.
Okay. So that's spring, I'm guessing, when they're spawning?
I think also when they're, I think it might also be when they're why can't I think of hibernating? There's really so what it says is under the timing restrictions, if the water levels of East Brook will be affected by construction or bypass flows, the following conditions apply. That's not happening. This bridge is not diverting the stream. What I mean is the construction of this bridge should not affect water levels in the stream. We're maintaining the stream down the center at all times. The stream is never being bypassed. And that's the same way I'll end up answering the Mass DEP. I think when Mass DEP read this, they just assumed the stream was being bypassed because oftentimes you have to. But the nature of this culvert is going to allow us to, take the top of it off, maintain the existing stream bed. There's never going to be any relocation of the stream, pumping of the stream. There's never going to be any flumes or piping of the stream. The stream is going to, except in high flows, the stream is going to stay in this channel. And so with regard to drawdown, a drawdown isn't happening, but there are times where you still can't work in the water and not have impacts and so forth. So that's
Are
the
you
best
using
answer.
fabric bags?
Yes, it'll typically be fabric sand cofferdams.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
Because I've run into a situation where they didn't remove those bags at the end and they're still in the river impacting it. So
That's unfortunate. That certainly, unfortunately, does happen. Well, in the case of this project, the entire stream bed has to be rebuilt and those have to come out. And that's just something that this gets enforced during construction. Construction is another matter if the town retains Howard Stein Hudson during the construction phase. But that's the type of thing that we would make sure that does not stay, during construction.
in the order
And
condition.
I can't see of any reason why they would. I mean, all of the plans and everything in it require that stream bed to be rebuilt across its entire width. So they can't do that with the sandbag cofferdams there. I think the project you were doing might have been a little bit different, that it wasn't a stream widening, where there was going to be a new, bigger, wider channel. Maybe it could have been, and they just left it there. But
No, I think it was sloppy contractors.
unfortunately, there's too many of those. But like I say, that whole stream bed crossing should be rebuilt and those removed.
Are you gonna be
So-
putting up a temporary bridge for when you rip this apart?
No. Do you have the stage construction plans in here?
I don't, but I can explain if you want me to.
Because I wondered if you're gonna have to put one next to it, then.
No, that's not happening because that's all in the endangered species and so forth.
Okay.
So what it will do, this project and this happens, have had a lot of projects with this as well. It's going to be single lane during construction. So what they'll do is they'll close one side of the road at a time. There'll be temporary traffic signals on both sides of the bridge. people will approach the bridge, only one side can go at a time. And they'll build one side of the new bridge, then they'll open that up, and now all traffic will be on the new bridge. And then there'll still be single lane alternating flow. And then they'll build the second half of the bridge. The proposed bridge, and maybe just scroll up just to see the top part of that sheet. The adjacent property, as you know, is Mass Wildlife, so that's open space and would be very challenging at best to try to have a project that widened out beyond the existing layout in the Mass Audubon land. It would require an Article 97 Act, and this project is not going to require that. The existing bridge is kind of in here. You can see the shadow of it there, and I think it's right below the proposed here. So on the proposed, we're going right to the layout line. So we're not going outside a layout line, and I guess I'm kind of illustrating that too, is there's really not an opportunity to be able to do a temporary structure. So the only way to build it is that single lane alternating approach. Then if looking at the Mass DEP letter, the June 11th, 2024, the first thing they have is the commission will need to wait until to close the public hearing until National Heritage has issued a determination. That's what you have here. So you have the National Heritage determination. And then the second thing is referring to invasive species. And this project really is staying within the layout. Invasive species, which they're speaking about, are invasive species outside of the project limits on Mass Audubon. And that's really their invasive species to deal with and manage. This project will rebuild the banks, and it does have some planting plans that we've coordinated with Mass Audubon, and do some of that bank restoration, at least in the vicinity of the project. The invasive species will be removed because they're not going to reuse soils. It's going to be all new loam and seed. So within the project limits themselves, the invasive species, they're called invasive species for a reason. So I can't say they'll be eradicated, but they'll be removed within the project limits. And at least for when the project's done, they won't be there. And then they'll do what invasive species do. It's obviously a pretty large site, so that's my best answer to the invasive species. It's really off-site and beyond the limits of the bridge and on Mass Audubon, but within the limits of the bridge where we meaning the town, control, is resolved to the best of the capacity of this project can. Then the third one is guidance on dewatering. We'll use the typical Mass DOT requirements for dewatering, and that type of dewatering is not the stream. We're not going to be pumping the stream and dewatering the stream. It's in the event that dewatering needs to occur when the foundations are built. And so that dewatering is pretty standard. It's a pump, and you pump it aside, and we'll call for a silt sack, which is basically, I don't know if you've ever seen it, it's a big pillow, maybe about somewhere that fits in between these two tables. You pump the water in, and the pillow is a filter. Pump the water into this big bag. The water seeps out of the bag because the bag is filtered in. And then you just put it in a place where that seepage overflows. It would be on one side or the other of the bridge, depending on what phase of construction you're on.
Go on
go ahead.
ground.
Excuse me?
So the water would just go onto.
We just go onto the ground. Yeah.
It leaks through it, right?
Yes.
And then just filters down into the ground. Okay.
Yeah. Or flows across.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would just be a bag sitting on the
Mm-hmm.
on the ground in whatever condition it is. Mostly grass out that area. The fourth one, in order to provide appropriate water depths, we're maintaining the channel in the middle. Those depths will be maintained throughout construction. There's not going to be any alteration of the channel that's there now. Everything will be built from that channel. That channel will be retained, and then
This is what.
the new stream
Yes.
will be something that's overflows to come from that natural channel. And that also kind of addresses on the thing that was attached to the Mass DEP's letter. That's really talking about prepare or modify a dewatering plan, which shall minimally include identification of techniques for bypass of water around the area of alteration. we're not doing that. The stream's,
lot of this
the stream's
doesn't-
gonna maintain throughout construction. We're not bypassing water around the project. It'll just stay in its natural channel. So that's everything I have to address those, and if anything you thought of to.
Yeah, I mean, basically everything,
What kind of storm is this designed for?
believe it's a.
It's designed for a 25-year storm.
Yeah.
Which is what is required by Federal Highway and Mass DOT under the bridge standards for the rating of this road, which is a rural collector. Is that right, Chris?
That's
Because
correct.
I know DEP is in the process of readjusting, like the 100-year storm is every 80 years, and
Yeah,
we've been getting a lot more flooding in town.
understood. Just 25 is standard. And things just aren't able to cost and size and magnitude of a 100-year bridge.
Hmm.
You're going up and over, and I don't know how they're ever going to get to the,
I've seen
Caretaker's
that
house.
many times in my lifetime.
yeah. But it is in conformance with the current stream crossing standards with regard to the flows required.
And somebody has done some measurements out there.
But certainly we've done detail, I'm not.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Detailed survey, hydraulic study. We
Okay.
had a hydraulic specialist that did the report and the alternatives analysis.
Vetted already.
Yeah, there is a Tetra Tech hydraulic memo that kind of goes through even like 100-year storms, the kind of the elevation of the water that we get at. And it does compare it against all of the alternatives that I was talking about. I also just wanted to add that I know we were just talking about invasive species. I did forget to mention that all the banks, there will be matting put down, erosion matting put down, and then it'll be put on with a New England conservation seed mix on all the banks. And again, there will be, as Steve said, there will be some plantings we've been working on putting on those banks with Mass Audubon.
Do you have a planting plan?
We do have a planting detail. If you go, it's a couple. Scroll down a couple, there's a detail, keep going. One more. So that is it right there, and it does, there, if you look at the episode down there, I also have plans you guys can look at too. It goes through what exactly is in the wildlife seed mix itself, New England, conservation wildlife seed mix.
It's in there in another place. It's in the report.
It's in
the
there,
wetlands
yeah.
report.
Are they planting like elderberry or something like that?
Yes, we've gotten some recommendations from our wetland specialist. Maybe you can find that to point them to it.
Yeah, so if you look
The
at,
areas we have are really small within the limits and where we disturb the banks, but we have restored them with that.
yes. There is I know it's one of the appendix here, I was gonna find it. It is one of the appendix where they go through based on our plan showing pictures where they took areas and potential areas where they have for plantings. Find it here, I believe it's.
So that will be in more detail at some point.
Mm,
The people get the contract.
we do have a plan that calls for the amount of planting, so there is a plan sheet that does show that planting area. And there is a sketch in one of these.
It is in that, trying to get you to the appendix here.
Oh,
It's in that.
what is the time
folder
frame on
right
this?
there. Everything's in there.
So we're going to be completing the design in the next 6 to 8 months, meaning where this design was going to be submitted to Mass, it already has been submitted to Mass DOT. It's been submitted to Mass DOT for Chapter 85 review. And along with, it's sort of a function of the funding.
Okay,
So as Chris described, we've been working with the town for the 3 years, and it's just kind of been advancing this project to the MVP process. And this is the third year of that development. And it's basically the final design. We are at 100% design. The design of the structure isn't changing. It's just getting those approvals from Mass DOT to try to get to the question when. So the funding is for this year. The town still needs to get funding for construction is what I'm trying to get to. And so that hasn't been set. The funding construction would be something that Mass DOT would be approved. I can't say what year it'll go to construction. The hope of the town is it goes to construction within the next couple of years. If not next year, the year after. But without that funding in place, I can't say.
Our NOIs are good for 3 years, right?
Yes. But then they can apply
Yeah, for
for an
extension.
extension.
And I would expect that if not in the 3 years, because another thing that's in here is if it's greater than 5 years, then you need to go back to natural heritage and again as well. So I would anticipate that it would occur within that 5-year period. Hopefully sooner.
You guys have any questions?
No. I
Do we
mean,
have
I've looked
any
at that book already.
questions from the
Oh,
audience? State your name and guess your,
Oh, okay, I'm Steve Riverty. I'm actually here for the hearing, but I'm a local fish resident and a state certified turtle biologist. So I'm just gonna comment on your thing about the turtle protection plan, more for the commission. That's a standard thing where they, they don't have that at this point in the design, and a lot of times now Mass Highway is actually doing their own turtle protection plans, because they have on-staff biologists that do it. So it's kind of a normal thing. That's your name, but well, now you mentioned that, and overall, I think it's actually a pretty nice crossing design. I know that worked pretty well, so. I'm here for that, but happy to see it.
any other comment? Yes,
Glad to have the board chair of the board of selectmen. I just want to say we've been working with the group for 3 years now. They're really quite helpers. Love to get here for the level. There's a lot of confidence in the ability to do this in the proper manner. Preserve, the wildlife and the wild resources of the town.
So what's next?
what's next? Are we missing anything or are we to the point of closing the hearing?
Oh, that's up to you.
How long would the construction take once you commence?
I believe it's a 2-year because of the phase. So yeah, so the first phase would happen like right around the summertime of the first year. And then the next phase, obviously, because of, again, we have staying out of the water, the next phase would happen the next year. Yeah, the following year. So it's roughly a it's roughly a 2-year, could be, 18 months, but roughly a 2-year.
So it's gonna be that one lane thing for,
Wow, a major road in the
Hey,
town, yeah,
yeah, I know, but
Yeah.
hey, it's.
it
They're
is what
doing
it
it up
is.
in Ware right now.
It is a little bit of pain, but it's lower volume than other
Right.
bridge projects have
I
done
know.
similar approach on.
Go up to Walmart and Ware.
Right.
That's a big one.
That
up there.
definitely has higher volumes.
Are we waiting for anything? Let's see, do we need NIPDs and all those other fun things?
The NIPD's permit, this actually falls below the 1 acre.
Yeah.
So we didn't have to write that into the contract.
Is there another one? I think.
What about the turtle protection plan? How are you gonna handle that?
We're gonna have
Are you
to
gonna-
put in the order of conditions that we need to have that
Right.
before the commencement of,
Right. Once whoever does
Yeah.
it, does it.
and we'll want the name and contact information for the person who's going to be involved with the inspection, and
Right.
checking.
Okay, so you can put that in the orders.
Yes.
All right.
I'm trying to think. Is there anything in that plan to deal with if we do have like that 100-year storm during construction?
There are not erosion prevention controls that can deal with a 100-year storm,
Right,
just like the structure.
but is there anything you can do if we know we're getting a storm to better prepare for it or anything? Do you have any?
There's not of that nature, it gets clear the way and let the water come through and hope it doesn't.
Yeah.
Destroy what you
You
did.
just basically you fortify what you have in place the best that you can. And then
I want to say it's flooded at least once a year.
I know we have some pictures more recently of it getting pretty high on the current bridge. So I've personally seen it pretty high from time to time. I'm from Springfield, so this is an easy drive for me to get here. So I've seen it during bigger storms. I'd say the water does get high there. I haven't seen it go over the bridge yet. I know in the past, and I think I've heard it has, from some big floods you guys have had in the past.
Yeah, when did the whole center of town flood out, remember?
Yeah, that was,
Mm.
all of Main Street was underwater almost.
All right. So we're not missing anything at this point.
I don't think so. You guys?
So I guess we have to close the hearing and then we vote on it.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I make a motion that we close the hearing on the East Street, is it
East Brook,
East Brook Bridge,
Main Street.
Main Street.
Second.
All in favor, all in
Aye.
favor, aye.
And now you have to vote, to, I mean, the orders aren't all done, but you vote to, issue the orders.
Yes, yeah. All right, well, I guess we have to find out if we all approve of it, right?
Mhm.
With certain conditions, we have a standard set, right?
Yeah, I mean, the orders aren't, I can't pass the orders out tonight. They're not totally
No,
complete.
no, we gotta work on those.
Right, but you can still, like you did, you can close the hearing, you do, and,
So we all gotta vote in favor of the project now? We have to take a vote on the project, right?
mhm.
So I make a motion that we, what, pass or not pass the? What do we do?
No, you're gonna vote to issue orders and conditions.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I make the motion to issue the order of conditions
Second.
for the East Brook Main Street Bridge.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You guys have a suggested listed of order conditions because sometimes we ask for that.
We don't.
Okay.
Pretty much the standard, and we're happy to review it at any point to see
Okay.
if you have any.
Yeah.
We'll review it no matter what. After you issue, we'll review it to make sure it's all
Yes,
can be complied with and so forth.
yes.
But if there's any time you want to send it to us, we're happy to look.
Do you have their contact information?
I think she has it all, but we're gonna leave a couple of cards
Yeah,
with you.
okay.
So you make sure you have everything.
and,
Did DEP suggest any special orders?
no, I gave you all a copy of
That
it.
was this that she passed out.
Yeah.
That's the
But
order?
that's what was
That's
addressing a
what,
lot
that
of
was
that
what DEP,
doesn't
yeah,
pertain. doesn't
Yeah.
Doing that,
No.
a lot of it, so.
So we'll try to tackle that after this meeting or later on the meeting?
well, yeah, at some point we can, we have 21 days.
Yes.
My suggestion for your order are the two things with regard to DEP. One, the turtle protection plan. And then, requiring that the dewatering plan also be submitted and approved by the Concom.
Mhm.
And that could be kind of,
Yeah.
since you don't have an NPDES permit where something like that would be reviewed,
Let's see.
it
And
gives you the chance to review that.
we're gonna definitely have to have a, what do you call it? Some kind of like storm checking process or a weekly or monthly, maybe almost weekly.
I think that's probably going to be in your standard order that you check all your barriers at the end of a certain size storm event.
Yeah,
That's usually a typical.
Yeah, that's,
standard order
yeah, that's,
conditions.
that's standard stuff, yeah, yeah.
Sure Judy has a set condition.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Personally.
yeah,
Just ask her.
yeah. Okay, so dewatering and then the turtle
Turtle
plan.
protection, yeah. Yeah. Be submitted, okay.
Okay.
They're done.
Thank you. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Here's card.
We'll be around.
Oh, thank you.
You can always reach out.
And I'll get this out to you within 21 days.
Perfect. Sounds good.
All right, what's the next one?
Well, the next thing, even though the orders aren't totally done, if you guys could sign it now, sign the signature page now, so that I wouldn't have to
Sure.
call you in
Yeah.
separately.
Yep.
Just one?
No, I've got two.
Okay. The deal is in the closet upstairs.
Oh, yeah?
We'll get it.
Nice.
Here's the other.
Well, he has his own.
Oh.
I saw somewhere, or the tape, I have 100-foot tape somewhere.
No, he said there's a wheel down in the closet downstairs.
Okay.
I'm gonna go grab that.
Have to measure the,
Yeah, but I don't, it's not. No. If you want to.
Is there anything else out of order? Or anything? Are we going right down this list?
Well, it's the couples here for the trees.
The trees?
Yeah,
The 46 Mountain.
Oh, all right,
I would do them. next.
okay,
That's the one we went and looked
So-
at last week.
all right, so I usually have to read what's put in the paper. When I open it. This is brand new, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you usually read the paper thing.
Oh, well, just,
Okay. I'm opening the meeting for the RDA for 46 Mountain Road, Mountain View Drive. Removal of several dead trees within riverfront area. Somebody here? Can you please come up?
So I'm Andrew.
I'm Amber.
This is Amber.
Hi.
We live at 46 Mountain View Drive. So in 2022, we actually had a tree fall on our house. Not a lot of damage, but there are some concerning trees in the area. These two gentlemen came out, was it last week?
Yeah.
Assessed the area. The biggest issue is that a couple of them are within proximity to the brook. So that's why we're here, obviously, to kind of discuss that. We know that the trees need to be cut so that the stumps are still extended off the ground. We do have a company that can have a crane that can go driveway and won't
Disrupt the ground.
disrupt the ground or the area. He'll pull them out. Obviously being very cognizant of the brook because we do have a brook that goes through our backyard.
Mhm.
Not really sure.
That's pretty much,
Yeah,
yeah.
I did take pictures and I
Yeah.
had them, looked at them, but.
Yeah, I did. I
Yeah.
saw like,
They're-
the
it's
pi-
hard
I
to
made
see.
the comment that I already saw a
Right.
pine tree that
Right.
snapped and they're very.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one.
This-
yeah, well,
The part of the tree that's split is still standing,
Still
so
standing.
it's terrifying anytime we get a storm. I'm like, please fall.
Like those. That one,
Yep,
and I think one other was in like. Without measuring exactly, within the 25 foot,
Yeah.
right
Yeah. Right.
next to 25 feet.
Wait.
The other ones are
now how,
beyond 25.
are they above or below the house level?
I'd say probably below the brook. I mean, the
Yeah.
brook line kind of slopes down.
Yeah.
Not
The
much.
house is up here and it goes down.
Yeah.
Down like a little hill.
They're down here.
I have pictures too, so if you.
Well, I'm just
Can't really
thinking that
purchase.
one of the things you can do is cut them off at, say, 10 feet where they're not going to impact anything, but it provides wildlife habitat still.
Well, the
That-
stumps are gonna stay anyways.
Yeah.
Right, then that's kind of our idea, because actually two of the trees are in our backyard and we actually have lights, so we're actually planning on cutting it, so that there's still.
Two of them are still want to like
Yeah.
kind of keep a little higher, but
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, we have no problem doing that. No problem doing that.
If you want to, after the discussion, because these guys went on the site inspection, these were the two negative determinations.
Okay.
Hmm.
We didn't discuss that with the last NOI, the brook.
Well, no, this is a determination.
Yes, all right, RDA, but the other one, the NOI,
Yeah.
we have anything we're supposed to discuss and. Oh, man, all right,
So you might want to just read negative and then those.
okay. So I guess we have to vote on this, right?
Right.
So we got a negative determination 2, the work described in the requested is within an area subject to protection under the act, but will not remove, fill, dredge, or alter the area. Therefore, said work does not require the filing of a notice of intent. The work described in the request is within the buffer zone as defined by the regulations, but will not alter the area subject to protection under the act. Therefore, said work does not require the filing of a notice of intent. Subject to the following conditions, the work is within the riverfront area. Please refer to special conditions.
Special
guess.
conditions would be leaving the stumps in place.
Yeah. Right.
And
Yeah.
making sure that they
Bring it.
stow it from the driveway, yep.
Yes.
Like you said. Yep.
And my suggestion would be to keep them as tall as possible where they won't impact the house, but
Absolutely.
provide like woodpecker
sure.
or
Sure.
flying squirrel habitat or different things because snags are worth a lot.
Sure. Yeah, we no problem doing that. It also leaves privacy too anyway, so. Two birds, one stone, right?
Did you guys amend your RDA for the other trees you were talking?
We did.
On the other side of the house.
Send an updated one
Yeah.
after we met.
Okay.
Okay.
So is that the one we're looking at now, Bonnie?
What?
They submitted an updated RDA.
Is this the one?
Is that the one that we're looking at?
Yeah, wait a minute. This is the RDA,
Last week.
I believe it is.
Yeah.
Whether the work depicted, is subject to the Wetland Protection Act, whether the area or work depicted, reference is subject to the jurisdiction of any municipal wetland ordinances or bylaws. Signed by you,
Yeah.
photos,
Is there a date on that one?
Yeah, what's the date on that one?
Where she signed it?
I know. 7/28,
No, the only.
No, it was recent. I emailed it, I think I think it was the same day you guys came. Was it Thursday?
It's been last week, yes.
The 15th.
Last Thursday.
The 15th.
that was August.
August 15th.
15th, yeah. I didn't print
They
it.
were gonna
there.
add two other trees that are on the other side of the house,
Oh,
Just
just to cover it. Cause they're within 200 feet, but
yeah.
they're not on the riverfront itself.
So the trees that they were adding they weren't really,
They were in within 200, but not within
Yeah.
the riverfront bank or anything.
right, no, yeah.
And one was dead and one was,
Going there.
yeah.
So yeah, so how do we do that?
So you didn't get that one?
I emailed it. I didn't print it a copy out. I didn't bring it with me.
Well, I guess
Well, the only difference is they added a couple of trees.
yeah,
We just added the additional ones that are like,
but date requested filed, that date would be different. Can I cross that out and change the date? Or title and date or revised date if applicable.
mhm.
So maybe we can put a revised date here. You said, what's
Yeah.
the date?
It would have been,
was the
August 15th.
15th, yeah. And we had listed on there, the only thing that we added was that there would be 7 trees. And any other trees that the tree company might say are
At risk.
at risk of falling.
It's important to get those
Yeah,
dead and half dead
Yeah.
trees down.
I put revised 7 trees and as needed. I don't know.
Yeah.
yeah, like any trees that are, the tree
As
company
needed.
are like, oh, this is
Right.
not looking great. You should probably cut this.
Yep.
Kind of a thing.
Due to, I don't know. Dangerousness, no. I don't know.
I'd probably say like,
Yeah.
Then just
As needed.
hazardous trees that company
Hazard.
deems necessary.
hazards, right, yeah, that's-
Okay,
it's good.
okay. All right, so we open the hearing with RDA or no? Yes. So we gotta,
Yeah, you opened it
so I gotta close
you-
the hearing.
and you read that, the negative determinations.
Yep.
Yes,
So now you have to vote on it.
okay, but don't we have to close it first? I think you close it and then you vote. That's what I remember. Okay,
Okay, well,
so I'm gonna close
better than I did.
the hearing on 46 Maple View Drive,
No, Mountain View.
Mountain View Drive. RDA.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all right. So now, let's vote on the two, whether we,
The
Um,
negative
the
determination.
two negative determinations. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have two copies to sign.
No, I don't think I was, no, I was in a rush today.
Okay. If we sign it, can you go make a copy?
I
so
sure
we have
can. Yes, Mayor.
it? All right, here we go.
Small.
I know. Or, you know, one line.
So what's next?
The 374A. But just wait a second.
Wait, let her do that.
Yeah, all right.
I'll be right back.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
That's why we're waiting. Do we have any more site visits coming up? Do we know?
I think we have to see the meeting set.
Well, yeah, he has,
Location again,
yeah.
right? Because he's not here, right?
When he comes back with a new
Okay,
proposal, or whatever, we will.
He was
Okay.
basically informed to move it.
Right.
right. Yeah, I was here for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I never went to that one.
I did. I went to look at it. I was
Okay,
the only one.
I had the wrong date for the 46.
What's that?
For
Oh,
tomorrow or something or that, I don't know.
that's all right.
No worries.
We were
It
there.
was fine. No, you were gone. You sent
you
an
were
email and said you were in Vermont
Oh, all right, okay,
last week. Yeah.
okay. Yeah, weed whacking for 4 days.
No poison ivy, I hope.
Nope, just lots of invasive,
Yeah.
winged euonymus and honeysuckle. So hopefully it will go on the market on Thursday. I'll get one more headache up. And then I heard that we got an email about revised plan too, coming in for Glendale.
Just a rumor.
Just a rumor.
Take that with you and look at it.
Okay,
As for the bridge, I already did. Tons of stuff in there.
tons of stuff. And there's a list of the special conditions in there.
Checked
Yeah.
The original.
Do they have any erosion control they have to put up?
I don't think so.
Right.
But not for
Right.
cutting with
I
the,
already see, I guess
Oh.
already.
not like
I signed.
disturbing the ground at all.
I probably should have put something in there about
Oh, they
leaving
didn't.
them the
You're all-
highest.
Awesome, thank you so
Thank you.
much. Thanks for your help. Have a good rest of your day.
All right,
Thank you, guys.
all right. Make sure you
Excellent.
have a copy of that on you while
Yeah.
they're doing the work.
Yes, definitely.
And show that to your contractor, and
Okay,
it'd be great if you can preserve the trees.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. We will.
absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
guys. Have a good night.
All right, so now I gotta open a continuation of NOI, right?
Yes, 374A.
All right. Okay, I'm gonna open the meeting for a NOI continuation for lot 374A, Wilbraham Road.
Hello.
You guys have, put up the old school board. Do you happen to have that on the screen or no? I'm fine with the board. I don't know if you had,
Do you have in the computer?
No,
That's
No.
fine, I can do it the old way. Yeah, I got them in the right order. Well, good evening, everybody. I'm Steve Riberty, Senior Wetland Scientist. Al Joyce and Tracy Norrie kind of brought me in to kind of help them through some of this NOI process. I've got some back history on this parcel as well, so I can probably speak to some of that stuff. Some of the history that kind of transpired to where we're at this point in the project design. So as you know, Al submitted the notice of intent for a single family house development on this parcel. I had done the original delineation 2-ish years ago. It was drought conditions, it was fall. The site was totally different than it is now with 2 really wet years and disturbances from septic drilling. So wetlands on the site look different today than they did, a couple of years ago. So based on that, I had gone out and redelineated the parcel. We had a field walk a couple of weeks ago now to look at the redelineation. So I wanted to get the commission kind of review of that and sign off before we surveyed anything. And it hasn't been surveyed yet. So what you see here is the original notice of intent that was submitted. Blue lines around here are approximate locations of the new wetlands. These haven't been surveyed yet. Just wanted kind of general confirmation of where they are. Nothing has been changed on the site relative to the design yet. That was one of the reasons I wanted to come in tonight, is to talk about the new wetlands, talk about the project, and see what the options are going forward before they invest time and money in more survey work, more engineering work, and having this back and forth that kind of goes on forever. And, maybe it's, exactly where everybody go. So the wetland in the back is an isolated wetland. I made this one a little bit bigger. There's a cistern down here. There's another cistern up on the top. So it kind of covers all that area. The wetland down here, which is the more obvious wetland system, what's up here, that follows, an intermittent stream that kind of comes through and goes under Wilbraham Road. This really didn't change. There is a largish quasi-isolated area up here that wasn't there before. And, I've been here before, 2 or 3 years ago, and I can attest to what this area looked like. It didn't look that much different than other upland areas on site. But between the wetness, the shallow bedrock, vehicles coming in and out of here, to do test pits and whatnot, this area, as it currently stands, meets wetland criteria. It's got hydrology, it has the plants because it's had enough time to start growing some vegetation in there. Soils I think are still a little bit questionable, but it's also hard to get soils because it's so rocky. You can barely get a soil profile in a lot of these spots. So there's another wetland in here. There's a potential connection of this wetland to this one. So I have that flag now, Linda, based on the last sidewalk. So I've 3 flags that kind of connect this down to here. So that blue thing this is connected, this brings this into BBW because it's connected to that wetland. So we have an isolated potential BBW and another BBW all kind of connected, a little bit of a bank in between the two. So the house design, like I said, nothing's been changed. There's some perk tests that have already been done out here. Interestingly, a couple of the perks were done in what is now the wetland and passed. So that's kind of either tells you the time of year the perk was done or, the conditions. It's a very flexible soil. Sometimes you have really low water and it's going to be dry as a bone. And other times it's going to be, whoa, this is soaking wet. So that's kind of what's going on in here. So there's a septic design. The house is back here. Obviously if the plan stays as is, the driveway crossing as shown, we kind of go right through the middle of the wetland and kind of come up into the house. So I just wanted to talk to you guys now about what's the potential, once we get the survey, I don't know the exact configuration of this yet, having a driveway somehow cross this wetland in the narrowest part to minimize clearing, and the impact and, keep it under the 5,000 square feet. And then, there's plenty of area down here to build a new wetland. There's kind of like a double tier shelf where it's kind of wetland, then there's flat, then it comes back up.
It's almost like a floodplain down there.
It is, it looks weird. Yeah, and I don't know if it's a culvert backs up. The watershed's not huge to it, but it has that vibe to it, right? It's got that look where it's like, hey, there's no understory here. Everything's kind of like washed out.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a good spot hydrologically to build a wetland for sure. And obviously everything up here is not that great. So there's plenty of room on site to replicate some kind of a wetland crossing to get to a house. I mean, the house would probably need to shift a little bit farther away to get, separation from everything.
What's the other, that's the new driveway or the current driveway, the
This
one?
dotted line is just some theoretical thing I was drawing for Al to say, here's some potential options. For this, we could potentially get, do a little bit of a bank crossing, PVW crossing here and minimize impacts. Or if the wetland's farther from the property line, it could be, maybe the driveway comes in farther down here and then swings in. It all depends on what the survey shows in the end, and obviously trying to minimize, the impact as much as
And we can't
possible.
figure out the square footage until they survey it.
Of this,
Yeah.
yeah, we would need survey to know the actual, either the cross.
What would be your guess as far as, is it a quarter acre, eighth an acre? What do you think that is?
This whole thing, I mean, what's the size of the total lot?
1.38.
So the lot's an acre, I mean, it's less than a quarter acre. It's probably around an eighth of an acre would be my guess, but until it's surveyed and.
Well, the big one is connected.
Yes.
We made a decision on that.
So yeah, either way, yeah, it's not gonna get below the threshold of.
No, and the other one's up above the house where it's not gonna be impacted and most likely left alone.
Yeah, there'll be a buffer to this for sure, and it's, this, as you know from the site, just gets higher and higher and higher. So, the more you go up the slope, the more you got a grade, so.
Yes, I thought it was 8, no?
I mean, eighth acre.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 5,000 square feet, right? I think that's what an eighth acre comes out to, plus or minus.
Isolated.
Yes.
Mm.
So yeah, right now we're making the assumption that this is BVW and we would have to amend the
Yeah.
notice of intent to have BVW impact with replication.
That would be the best place to cross because you could literally use a decent sized culvert to get across.
And one of the things I'll mention too, it's this channel, if it's connecting now, that wasn't there before. So what had happened is when they kind of came through here with their little access road for the septic, they kind of made like an area where water can pool. Now that water's pooling and then it pools to a certain elevation and then it has to go somewhere. So it just found like the low spot and it's starting to erode a channel now from here to here. So it's making this area more wet over time. And you never know, you could have another 2 drought year and it's like, wow, that doesn't look like a wetland anymore, but
Yeah.
It's.
Probably half of it, the channel is, I would say, maybe a foot wide. And
Yeah, it's very, and you can tell it's very newly, the roots are still exposed and there's you can tell it's newly eroded soil around the
Yep.
plant base, like as the water's finding its place to go to get from high point to low point. Just found the lowest, easiest path down there and it's making a channel. The more rain we get, the more fine that'll be. So yeah, installing some kind of pipe in here will be a definite, because if you don't, that's just gonna pool up even more here and just go over the driveway.
Become a pond.
So I guess, yeah, there's nothing to approve right now. Obviously, we need to go back to the drawing board, but I wanted to get some solid input. So we're coming back with something that, is what you guys are looking for and it's provable.
You were there, so.
Well, you went and Greg went, so,
Yeah, I've learned the second one.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that looks exactly like what we saw
Okay.
out there.
Yeah, this is eyeballed. This isn't like, I did my
Yeah,
best
but-
with
yeah.
phone GPS, but
Okay.
Now, do we lock in wetlands in this town? What do we do?
With what?
Do we lock in the wetlands or not?
Well, you're not done.
no, I mean, you can't until you prove the NOI, the wetlands aren't locked in, but
Right.
just an agreement in principle, like, yeah, we're fine with the wetland lines, get them surveyed.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's, I think that's fine. We didn't file an ANRAD or anything, so it's no way to like really officially lock them in.
Yes, all right. I'm a little rusty on this.
It changes so much.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any more questions?
No, not on this property.
No.
So any input you guys have, I mean, obviously I'll have to go back to,
Are you saying?
So did you flag like the widest part of the channel there?
Yep.
You got 2 sets of flags kind of
I
running
got
through?
B flags that go over here to here, so I got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Okay,
And that's
I
speeding?
mean, it's narrowish, but it's,
No.
Isolated?
No.
no, it's
the other way.
connected.
this will be connected, so this won't be isolated anymore.
It flows into the flows down into the
The other one,
brook.
it was very tough to connect because
There was a weird,
there is wetlands, there is some show signs of it going between, but there's a big pile of grass and stuff from the neighbors and there's different impacts in there where you can't really
Right.
tell
Yeah.
what is legit in there right now.
There might be something underground, way down deep.
Yeah,
it's hard, it's shallow bedrock, so the
Right.
water's doing, you don't know
Yeah.
what it's doing underground. If it's low, if it's high.
yep.
All right.
Yeah, I'm good with it
Okay.
now, as it's like.
Yeah, I don't know when we'll come back. It's gonna be dependent on, you know, a surveyor and some redesign, but, you know, I guess we can ask for a continuation to the next hearing and then
Yes.
play it by ear as to where the site design is. And, you know, I'll probably have to come up with a mitigation plan and there's a couple elements we'll have to include on the plans that are on there now.
So your driveway plans are either higher up or around it.
It's either gonna be around on the low spot or up on this side. It'll be whichever, once it's surveyed, whatever way we can kind of
Right.
minimize the wetland impact. Well, here's another question since I've got you all here. So this is 25 no disturb, right? Would we be allowed to potentially get in here if it minimizes impact to this wetland? Because this is where it really is narrow, right? In that little close zone. If we come out of the 25, we're gonna be
That's the kind of.
potentially
Yeah.
pushing into
Window.
wetland.
You don't want to give that up.
No, no.
Very firm on that.
So I just wanna, like, I don't wanna like come in and go, no, keep it on 25. I'd rather just know that answer now and we can have that as a design.
I would,
Out, stay away from that 25 that's from that brook.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
from the BVW.
This one, this will be, they're both BVWs, but yeah, it's this one here. I mean,
Yeah.
there'll be a 25 around this now too.
Yeah.
So we'll be in it either way, because these two will overlap.
Right.
But if anything, we'll be into the wetland, it's across it to get up to the,
I know we can't prevent them from getting to an upland. There's something. I can't remember what the rule is.
I'd have to read it too, but it's, I think you can't, yeah, it's similar in other towns. It's like, stay out of it unless you need to get through it, and then you just get through it and get out of it and
Yeah.
stay 25 feet away.
There is,
That's the whole window.
Yeah.
yeah, right.
But
Yeah.
DEP will say, no, you know,
They had the
not like they don't care about your 25 foot, they're gonna be like, Steve, minimize the wetland impact.
Yes,
property. line.
That's for variance. You know,
yes.
Mark's gonna wanna see the wetland impact number as low as possible.
Yeah, the other side's gonna impact the property line.
Yeah, they could.
But down here,
Yeah.
and this wetland could be, this could be on this property, could be.
Well,
into
even
the
if
property, I don't,
driveway over there, that could be, yep,
yeah,
property line there too.
Yeah,
I don't know what that is.
there's probably a setback from the property
Right,
line to the
that's what I
driveway
mean.
too, I'm not, yeah.
because there's, yeah, because even on the other side, coming in the other way, on the other side. Other property,
All the way up
Yeah.
there?
I don't know how narrow it is there coming up.
It's, well, you'd be going through the,
That's.
it's a different parcel, but it's like literally the front yard of the house.
No, if you stayed in, it's, that whole corner is wet.
It's all wet.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
I don't remember it, so, all right, okay. But we do have mitigation area there.
Yeah,
Yeah, we could easily get a 2-to-1 down in here, I think, depending on, you know, if we kept this minimal.
you see, I don't have.
There's room in here to
that.
kind of take that wetland 3 and.
Going through that 25 and then replacing it.
Yeah.
Because I think
Of
if we,
that, yeah.
if we replaced it down below, we'd actually have a better wetland.
Mhm. Okay.
That's all I've got.
So I guess we need the survey before you
Right,
can
yeah,
make a
before you can
decision.
Exactly, we need the survey, you know. Al's gonna have to rethink about the site design a little bit. You know, I don't know if it's gonna affect the septic or not. I mean, right now the septic's out of it, but it should, it might be okay.
I'm happy with the new flagging. That's all we're
Right,
talking about
yeah.
now, so.
Yep. Right, yeah, so at this
Okay.
point, the flagging, we prefer where it is now.
We'll have a survey where it is right now in the
Yeah.
field.
Yep.
And then the next iteration of the plan will have not my drawing, it'll have, wetland survey located flags and buffers.
And then you guys would have a better idea of where to put the road to.
Exactly, yeah, we need to see that on a plan. Yep, exactly.
Sure. Okay.
All right, excellent, thank you. So I guess we'll formally ask for continuance to whenever the next hearing is.
When's the next date?
Oh,
They're,
I can, right, hold on. Oops. Oh, come on.
I vote that we continue the NOI for lot 374A Wilbraham Road to the next date of September
Come on.
18.
18th.
I was going too fast.
Yeah, and I'll give you guys an update before and where, survey and site design stuff is.
And if you're not ready for the 18th, just let us
Yep,
know.
exactly. All right.
I'll second that if you need.
Now we're moving on to the next one, huh?
did anybody second that, Tom?
Yeah, I did.
All right, so we're going to the Stony Hill
All in
Road.
favor?
Oh, all in favor of continuation?
Yeah.
Aye. Okay, I'm gonna open the NOI continuation for lot number 21194-000 Stony Hill Road.
This is my easiest commute ever. So, good evening, I'm Steve Rivers for the record. Al, since I was doing the other one, Al, like, can you help me on this one too? So I didn't do any of the original delineation out here. That's this line here. I think that was done by Levesque. You guys looked at it. You guys went out on a field walk, found some low depressional area up in here that was dominated by sedges, which was actually kind of odd even when I saw it. I've never seen that sedge in such a monoculture over such a large area.
I know, it
Really
was kind of
odd.
weird.
Mm.
But did you notice the monitoring well there?
And I don't know what that was for.
That's what my big question.
I don't know if that was from a previous person or if that's a septic thing. Yeah, I did notice it too. I don't know why it was there. Or maybe someone else developed this before.
Well, I just don't know if that area had something happen there and that's why it's there. Yes,
Oh,
Contaminated.
it's contaminated. That's what, you don't just put a monitoring well in the middle of a forested wetland for no reason.
Yeah, maybe it was a hydrology monitoring well. I really don't know. Yeah,
No,
that's more of a, I think a 21E question on like the title search.
yeah,
I think if people do that type of a study, it ends up going against it's recorded against the property, like. or something.
yeah.
okay.
I was trying to figure out how you even go find that out. Yeah,
I find them all in the woods all the time doing what I do. It's just like, why is there a well here? This is weird. And sometimes you don't know. Sometimes you can just like make suppositions as to why.
yeah,
There's only one. It's usually like.
but it's right at that finger end,
It's like on the end here, right?
right?
Yeah.
So that's suspect to me.
Hmm.
We found that Greg and I did when we were out there.
Oh. Yeah, I didn't go.
Yeah, I saw it too. I go, that's weird. It looks kind of oldish, so I don't know
Yeah,
how long it's been there. And like I said, I don't know any of the history of the property. I can check with Al, see if he knows anything on it. But either way, right, there's a feature here that's wet, right? It's a bowl, it's dug out. I think it was removed material probably ages ago. I'm not saying this is recent, the whole forest has since grown up and it's shorted out. Probably maybe it was a borrow pit for sand when they're building Circle View or something. I have no idea. But somebody dug something out. It's naturalized now. I didn't find any direct connection of this to the wetland. It just looks like a pit and they hit groundwater.
right.
Got close to groundwater and in the spring, maybe water's high and in the summer it's low. It doesn't have a lot of watershed, but you can see, I saw what you guys did. You see a little staining on the leaves. It's
Yep.
obviously wet enough to support the back wet sedge.
Yeah.
So it's wet-ish, right?
Supposedly the neighbor has seen flooding in there.
It could be, yeah. I mean, there's staining on the leaves, so
Right.
wet spring it probably is full of water.
Did you find the other wetland or the catch basin brook?
Yeah.
On the bottom edge?
This thing, I
Bottom.
didn't look down here at all.
Okay, towards the road, there's another catch basin that flows out and has
Up,
somewhere in there. Yeah, it
At
flows
that
out of there. Yeah, it flows out of there and goes probably 25, 30 feet
So
And-
it comes off the catch basin in the road into the site?
Yep,
Like something.
and it makes it all the way to the road in there, the path that we walk in.
Oh,
And there's elderberry and everything on.
no, I didn't look at that at all. I
We
was,
found that last walk.
okay, I can take a look at
I
that.
remember the one at the other end.
No, there's another,
Oh,
There's another storm drain there.
yeah, there's
Okay.
another storm drain.
This is a storm drain here.
Right, no,
Yeah.
there's a second storm drain
Second storm drain there,
huh.
little bit of a channel that.
and there's a
Follows the
channel
road.
that goes all the way to the path where you walk into the site.
Oh, so
Yeah,
it,
the path is over.
so it runs down the road.
Yeah.
Alongside the road.
So, yeah,
Oh,
so it
alright.
comes all the way into that. It runs parallel to the road.
Oh, so it's running up
Yep, and goes all the way to your path.
and then it hits the path and it's kind of maybe just takes.
Peters out.
Yeah.
Oh,
Al mentioned something on a previous site walk. I don't know if you were at it. I don't know who was on it about some ditch by the road that was a storm drain thing. I don't know if that's what he was talking about or if he was talking about.
I ain't talking about the one up at the top of the page.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but we walked the
because
site
we all
somewhat,
saw that. when
and
were
we
there.
found this other one the other day.
Hmm.
And I was like, wow,
Does it look more like it's storm drainage that that the town built to just like make a ditch to get water away from the road?
yeah, kind of. Oh.
I.
State your name.
First, it will be drive on the butter. That storm drain was put in, there was one on either side of the road. Because the water came from the pond that's across the street, which is spring fed, underneath the road. And would go down and back and they were getting flooded and back down back. That was originally what I was told, what that storm drain was for.
So the road, there's a pond over here somewhere,
Yeah, just, it's just.
like by the solar
in
farm?
front of, where the
Mm.
solar panels.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, and it used to go underneath the road. And it would follow the trail that she's saying, and it would go down and back. And down on the other street, they would complain that they were getting flooding, so they put that storm drain. And that's what I was told when
So that these people up here were getting flooded because the water was going
I'm getting
this,
flooded.
oh, you're down here.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they diverted the water this way.
But it wasn't me.
No, no,
because-
so but
because it goes down.
people down here, yeah, they're,
Once they changed that, I now get flooded because that storm drain is there.
Oh. oh, they made it better for you, but made it worse for you at the same time.
They made it for everybody else down the street.
Yeah.
They- oh, wow.
Yeah.
Do you know about when that was put in?
I don't remember. I don't remember
Yeah.
at all. It's been quite a few years. Stanger used to own the property across, so maybe about the time Ann would bought the property to build the house,
Yeah.
that's right, that might be about the time frame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those
So
some-
what would you guys think it? Jurisdiction, I haven't seen it, but you guys did. Jurisdictional or just town drainage, like in Munson where they have all the country drainage?
It's a weird situation. It's a channel there, like,
I mean, either way.
if either way,
If there's a channel there, they're gonna have to cross it. So it, at a minimum, be a pipe, so they're not backing up water and
right,
it's, like you see any of those driveways that go over the roadside ditches, you need to build
yes,
something to convey the water from A to B,
yes.
which I
But
think.
I wanted to make you guys aware that we found that there is vegetation lining it, but
Linda, Al Joyce,
yes,
in Hampton, when we file for a curb cut permit,
yep,
yes, all those are reviewed by DPW and they pull up their plans
okay,
and they show all of the drainage into it. And they'll require us to put in a culvert at that site.
I just want to make sure you guys knew about it. Had you seen it
I
before?
wasn't aware of that.
Okay, all right.
Is it something like a feature you want on the plan and just say drainage area and just so we know it is?
If they go out and survey it, it might be important to put,
He'll have to resurvey this for when my new flags are up here.
yeah, so it might be important to at least note it on the plane for future. Especially for, crossing it.
Yeah. Now, what did you think of the flagging I had here? Were you okay with it? Any changes? I know I couldn't make it to the field
I
walk with
think
you.
that was pretty accurate.
It's
Yeah,
pretty
there's-
contained.
It has a bank of a foot or so.
Yeah. It drops down pretty
And
good.
I'd love to
Seeing
find,
it, but I didn't see the flags, but. okay.
find the something on that monitoring well.
Yeah, we could look into it. I don't know. I don't even know the best way to find out.
I don't know either.
Sometimes there's like, if you flip the top and look in, there's some kind of reference number, but then you'd have to probably do a 21E like search to see if there was a spill.
Yeah,
But if there's no spill, nothing's gonna come up.
yeah,
Somebody could have just been curious at the water level and
yeah.
put in a well.
Did you reach out to the person I asked about that well that you thought was for like the,
No.
okay.
What was the name of the
Want me
person?
to reach out?
Yeah, if they know anything.
Yeah,
What was the name of the person?
it's Bruce Glover, it's Mary Ellen Glover's husband. He used to live, not the house on the other side, but one other house. When we moved in 62, he had already lived in there. And I don't know if he knows anything about it.
I wonder if the DEP has any record of it.
If there was a spill, they would. If there was like a well that had to be installed for monitoring,
Yeah,
that's what the 21E search would like pull.
Right.
yeah.
What would they be putting a well in to monitor there?
It could be anything, could be,
We
it's
have-
been groundwater,
Yeah,
Okay.
you know, and my thought is like, if somebody found this as like a wetland, maybe somebody was trying to prove it wasn't a wetland and put in a well, and they were checking water levels in spring. That would be my first guess as to what it is. But I would do something like that if it was a site that I was trying to like look at over the long term. If there was only one, it's probably not a hazmat-y thing, because there'd be more.
Yeah.
They'd be spread out in some kind of grid, or they're gonna want to get like a gradient, not just like one's at this one point here
right.
today, right? They're gonna need to get a plume and. I didn't look into it. Did it look like there was like was it a,
It's a screw cap, it looked like.
yeah,
It's got a
so
pinhole on the top.
it's hard to tell, yeah, what's
Yeah.
inside, you know, or how deep it goes, you know.
Right.
The depth will tell you what they're looking at. If it's only 8 feet deep, they're just looking at surface water.
Drop a weight down there.
And sometimes,
Yeah.
you know, I've seen them in the woods too. There could be somebody else somewhere. Maybe maybe it's something with the solar, probably not, but you know, some other big development, or maybe there was an old landfill in town or something, and they were just mandated to like put wells at certain intervals away from that, just to see if it's contaminating groundwater a quarter mile away, a half mile away. They may have got this landowner's permission to like, hey, can I put a well there? Sure.
Yeah.
Cause I know as part of the order conditions, I would want that water tested to just make sure it was. You know,
Yeah, we didn't even know what to test it for though, because you don't know what they're looking for.
yeah, I don't know.
PFAS.
There's probably some, if there's a well there, there's probably somebody in town, maybe Board of Health or something. I would think if it was a hazmat thing, Board of Health might.
Yeah.
Have a CC on things.
Yeah.
Oh, they should.
Yeah.
There was some kind of monitoring plan for,
Yeah,
I don't know, making PCBs or whatever it might be. I'm
yeah.
just guessing, but if it was somebody just wanting to check water levels, you're not gonna.
Right.
Al, do you have any idea about that?
No, I see those quite frequently.
Okay,
I saw it, I didn't give it any thought.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, I would just say maybe it's more of like a title search to make sure there's no weird thing on the property, because whoever buys this, if there is a hazmat issue, they're just gonna be like, whoa, what is that? But if it doesn't come up, then nothing was found,
Yeah,
if there was a well there. But yeah, so let's just say, okay, this wetland's good, you know, the line work of it. Obviously, it's impinging on a little bit of the grading. Again, it hasn't been surveyed. I don't know the exact size. It looks like it's probably under 5,000 square feet, so it wouldn't be a local wetland, but, you know, I don't think Al really needs to fill it, and you could probably just maybe avoid it, but maybe we don't need to move. I guess what I'm saying is if it's not local jurisdiction,
I guess you'd have to have it surveyed to find out how close it is to the grading.
exactly. And I mean, right now, there's one grading line in there, which I'm assuming you could probably tighten up to get that out. If that's real, I mean, the wetland might be bigger, might be farther this way, I don't know. I was thinking more the septic. If this is not a state wetland, does that setback for septic apply anymore? Right, now you've got this septic, if this is a real wetland, right, and if it's not connected, it's not BBW.
Okay,
So it's not state jurisdiction. It might be local jurisdiction if it's over a certain size, but if it's under a certain size, it's not
well,
local.
if it's non-jurisdictional, can I just fill it in?
You theory, I don't think. It's definitely a wetland feature. Is it a jurisdictional wetland?
Well, that's a good, well, that's my question.
Yeah, it might come down to Army Corps. Might
Because
not.
in another town, there was a small wetland area and it was a little pond.
Yeah,
But it wasn't jurisdictional, so we filed with the Army Corps of Engineers.
exactly. You just have to go through that
And then-
process,
And
but yeah,
then we filled it in and everyone's happy.
you'd have to get Army Corps to also agree that they don't have jurisdiction over it.
Yeah.
It takes a while. But I've done it on a couple projects too, but you know, their turnaround for reviewing those things takes a little bit. But if they agree that it's not jurisdictional under their regulations, it's not jurisdictional under them or 401. So nobody would have jurisdiction over it.
In
over
fact,
that
that's
time.
even why we filled it in, so we could put a septic within 50 feet of it.
Yeah, but if it's not jurisdictional, I don't think the septic setback would even apply. It would just be,
Okay.
there's just a wet area.
Yes,
Yeah, it wouldn't matter if you filled it in or if you didn't fill it in. It would just
Okay.
be, it's just some wet area on the site.
okay.
So I guess same thing for the other project. We need to survey this and really see what it is, and then potentially adjust some of the site work relative to how big this is.
Yep.
But, you know,
And maybe pick up that
yeah,
other,
I'll flag that and
Yeah.
they can pick it up. when it's-
Right by and look at that. So-
Yeah. yeah,
But-
it's pretty distinct. I was shocked when we were walking in there, like, whoa, where's this go?
Yeah.
Because it almost makes it to that green thing, but I'm sure if you get heavy flooding, it might make it. I don't know.
Some of the water comes in when you get those 3-inch rainstorms and the thing that
Sure.
just can't handle the flow. It's just sheeting into the site and it just kind of fills
Yeah.
up. And there's
Yeah.
no sandy there. This opposite of the other site, this is all pure sand.
Yep,
It just eventually just works on.
Question. For the town bylaw, is it written in there for the square footage? On it, and then if it is, you have the 25-foot buffer around
Yep.
it, no different than on Allen Street at the church there, that had that standalone pond, no other wetland, no other features around it. And then they have to still, with the square footage, they have to follow the 25-foot buffer.
Correct. I think if this met the local bylaw, like by size, it gets the 25 foot. The 25 foot's a local ordinance
Right.
buffer. Yeah.
You'd have to survey it. Find them.
Yeah, it needs to get a survey.
It's following the bylaw.
Correct.
We can't even guesstimate on the square footage at this point, right?
It's just guesstimating.
part of it is actually falls into the buffer zone of the other ones.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
This
Right.
buffer comes all, the whole thing is in the buffer zone to this one. That buffer's here. So it's all in the 100-foot buffer already.
How much is in the
Oh,
The
this is-
25 foot.
This is the 25.
no disturb? Okay,
Yeah.
so part of it's in it. Okay,
Part of that other thing is,
Yeah. yeah, okay.
The well, looks like the well is still
Yeah,
within the 25 foot.
yep. All right, so I make a motion that we continue it to September 18th.
Okay. Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
The same thing. I'll get a hold of you guys and give you an update before the meeting where we're at with things.
Okay. Oh, the RDA, nobody's here
I
or
don't see him.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
so I think I have to open it and continue it. I think that's how it works.
What, this,
The RDA,
oh, the one,
all right,
on the pump house.
Yeah.
yes, so I'm gonna open the meeting for the RDA continuance for 0 South Road. Construction of a pump house for maple sap within 200 feet of riverfront. Since we have not heard from anybody and they are not present, I would like to make the motion to continue it to the
Second.
September 18th. All in favor?
Aye.
seconded?
I did.
Do we have any correspondence?
No.
Any bills to pay?
No,
No.
we don't.
A
Nothing
new
else?
agenda or anything to discuss?
Anything new coming up? No, well, eventually we'll have, a Glendale Solar,
Okay.
number 2.
Any other site visits coming up? Any on other RDAs or NOIs or anything?
Not yet, but it's
Okay.
still early.
Okay. All right, what else? Oh, did you get the copy of that, site visit form? Did you ever find that I forwarded to you?
No. Forward it now.
Let's go step.
There's been no information since the last meeting about that pump house thing. Nothing's coming in.
No, he came to see me
Oh, you did?
after the meeting and discussed the fact that at the meeting, you all wanted him to move it further away from the brook. And that was the last I heard from him. I think with the forestry cutting plan, I sent you some of that information. That that's a 10-year cutting plan. And then sap, the actual collection of the sap is allowed under the Mass Wetland Protection Act. That he can do that, but the further away that he can get from the brook, the better. The whole lot where he wants to do all this is under natural heritage, rare and endangered species. So I told him that he did have to file with them because even with I'm thinking of the Turnberg forest cutting plan, that he still had to file with them. So that's where we're at with that. So I'll give him a
Yeah,
call. He does have a cell phone with him.
So I emailed him.
oh, to go look
Yeah.
again, yeah. Yeah, you guys didn't look at it yet, yeah, anyway.
There's talking move it possibly into the forest further out of the riverfront,
Well,
but putting the solar out in the field.
Right, would have been a problem, yeah, right, you wanted to put it on top of it, yeah. No, I showed him a good spot, right next to his wood pile, but.
So,
I know.
okay, so it's a PDF. Okay.
Alrighty. I will make lots of copies.
All righty. You're just gonna change it to from Granby to
Right.
Hampden. Yeah. Okay. I make a motion to close the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
What is it, 7:34?
Forward.
Yep.